TV. I'm Ernesto. I'm your host, and today is this 27th Saturday. We're here at 3 p.m. It's our first time in this time slot, so we're really excited to be with everybody tonight. Today, Veretta, are you there on the line with me? Hello, can you hear me, Veretta? Do we still have you?
Absolutely. I'm here.
Perfect. All right, great. So,
You
um,
still have me. Yep.
just wanted to check in with you, make sure that we got you. And we have some of our subscribers here today on the line that we're going to get to you guys in just a moment. Amala and Patricia, I see you guys there. So we'll take calls in just a moment, but I just wanted to check in with Veretta. Um, we were talking just before the show that Mercury retrograde starts on, it looks like the 10th, which is going to be um, no, I'm sorry. That's on the 10th of September. So that's going to be in like another 1.5, 2 weeks. But, we're still in that sort of shadow phase where Mercury's beginning to slow itself down, where it's not really behaving in the way what we're used to. So remember, retrograde begins with RE. So that means all of our words that begin with RE, like review, renew, research, all of those things. Those are the activities that you want to do. For example, like my parents bought a car during a Mercury retrograde. That is one of the worst things that you can do, like to make a major purchase during that time. During that time, you should have been doing some research, but you know what? They purchased the car and it did not work out. It's really just been a headache that this entire time trying to figure out what to do about this. But you know what? Mercury retrograde is coming up on the 10th. So while traditional astrologers would tell you don't do something like make a Mercury retrograde or don't make a major purchase during a Mercury retrograde. What's interesting under this lens in Uranian astrology, what we do over here is that kind of, teeters into I don't believe in astrology, and we don't do that. There's not really anything concrete behind it. So when you're feeling like I shouldn't buy this. I shouldn't buy a new car during a retrograde period, even though I've already done it before. In our school, what we believe is no, you actually should buy the car during the retrograde because the problem began during a retrograde, so it needs to be finished during a retrograde. So you still want to use this period to do all of your researching and that kind of thing, especially in this pre-shadow where you can look into other, maybe used cars vendors or that kind of thing to find out the best deals that are available or perhaps even what style of car that you would like to do that research. But then once the retrograde hits, go out and do your shopping. Everybody in the Western land is going to tell you don't do that. That's the worst thing you can do. But you know what? When you start a problem during a retrograde, you need to finish it during the retrograde. And that's true for any type of retrograde. If this is, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, doesn't matter. It just has to be resolved and begun during that period. So that may be something that you didn't know, Veretta, and a lot of our listeners out there. But under Uranian astrology, that's kind of how we handle retrograde issues. So, Veretta, you may have had like some communication difficulties with people, or you may start to experience that. Well, this is a time when you personally are going to want to take actions or steps in those areas if those are the problems that you had the last time around.
Yeah. Right. And my area usually exists around, well, depending upon the type of retrograde and most definitely the solar combination and its flares, my problems usually exist around electronics and the ability to get things to work properly and equipment and whatnot. And because I know not to initiate or engage in establishing any type of contract during a retrograde, but even the small things that would be a hang up are things that I have to deal with in the retrograde with those issues.
Right. So like
It's different for everyone.
I'm going through like email problems right now. Like my Google decided that my G Suite that's been a legacy account since like 2008, that now I have to pay for it. So that's kind of a pain,
Oh,
and that I have to deal with all of these kinds of issues. So like micromanagement of website and other IT issues. Yeah, I'm being faced with that. But I'm not an IT person, and I admit this openly, and I'm actually somewhat of a technophobe when it comes to these things. I mean, like to you, you're probably thinking that like I can't handle an iPad, but my definition of technophobe is I suck at audio engineering. Like something that is so far above and beyond what anybody would ever expect. That's my definition of technophobe, or like computer programming.
yes.
Like that. Those are just things that I just I'm not really wired to do. So when I have to get into that, I
Right.
work very, very slow. And I know that. Like a lot of people say, well, I have to keep pushing forward. I have to do this. No, you really don't have to do anything. Like you can leave your husband. You really don't have to be in that abusive relationship. What happens if you do that scary thing and walk away and go and do your own thing? So I'm always of the belief that everything is either a want or a request, and the things that really truly matter, those get done one way or the other.
Right. Well, most definitely that is something that I have, I was predisposed to worry in regard to what was going to happen. And once I, a couple, 3 or 4 decades ago, got to that point of understanding that faith carries you, you have to understand that. And that's a whole different subject and ball game. But the reality of it is, I'm like you. There are things that it is above me, and I don't choose to learn how to do it. I am like you, technophobe in certain areas, and I'll admit it. I'm not. Yeah, maybe I could. I don't want to. There's so many other things that I need to pay attention to. Those type of things are not in my forte. So I'm like you, Ernesto. I gladly pass that on to someone else. I can follow directions, so just tell me how, and I'll get it done.
Well, now here's the interesting thing about retrograde. Something that we were talking about is, like something if you pay attention, if you pay really close attention to the show and the conversations that we have with all of our callers here, that one of the common narratives that comes up quite frequently here is about money issues and about moving and those kinds of things. And you hear me talking about like Jupiter, which is moving in a backwards or a retrograde motion right now. So besides Mercury, which is going to move backwards in a few more weeks, we also have Jupiter that's joining into that mix. Now that's somewhat difficult for a lot of people because Jupiter is our planet that deals with money. And if we ignore the fact that the global economy is in shambles and all of that kind of stuff is just, going to hell and everything else, it helps to sort of it helps us to understand that things are relatively difficult, but the reality is that we're really just still struggling in a lot of ways, with these money issues. And this is going to be something that all of us have to deal with until that goes out of retrograde and starts moving direct, but that won't be until the first of the year. So anything that that involves money is going to be one of those things that we want to pay attention to as far as like what our own actions are doing. See, like this Jupiter up here sitting at about like 6 degrees ish on the cardinal axis. This is the world chart that we're looking at now. So that's going to move backwards to Mercury, or excuse me, to 0 degrees. Right around the first of the year is when it'll finish that, and then it'll start to move forward again, and it'll catch up at the speed that it's lost pretty fast. So the first part of next year is going to be very fast moving for a lot of people, and all of the big changes that you've really been feeling that we've been talking about. Like another big thing that's here on the show is we talk about big changes that are coming. Those are all going to start to hit everybody at a global level next year, and when that hits, it's going to be very fast. So you need to be prepared for mad dash, because a lot of people won't be, and they'll just be swept away by the currents. So when we talk about like some doing what I specialize in, which is like damage control, let's say, or setting yourself like a roadmap for the future through some life coaching with like with what Reddit does. This is why we really appreciate having you guys call in today, because we can advise you on the future and tell you what's coming down the turnpike so you can be prepared for the best possible result. Because remember, what happens in the future is completely dependent on your actions right now in the present. If you're choosing to take the low or the high road, then that's going to have the most profound impact on what you're going to be seeing down the turnpike. So remember, everything is a choice, and it's all up to you in the moment what's going to be going down. So on that note, we are going to get off to our phones here and start taking some calls. Beretta, did you have anything else that you wanted to add to that?
Nope, that pretty much tops it, I think. We're ready. Let's get on.
Yeah, so let's take our first caller here. This is going to be Amala from area code 860. Hi, Amala, are you on the air with us? Can you hear me?
Hi, how are you? Yes, I can. How are you?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I have just a really quick, acute question, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, so I actually, this happened 6 months ago, and I met somebody, and then it did its thing. It's like, the timing was off. And basically, I actually called him, and I didn't expect him to call me back, but he did. And it was just very refreshing is the word. And so I'm just like, I think, because I'm an old soul, I could feel it that he's been through some stuff. I don't know him well at all. But I feel that he's been through stuff. I've been through stuff. So bottom line is that I have a presentation coming up, and because I'm visually impaired, I was going to ask him to help me with that, or should I ask him out for coffee? I know I feel like I'm in junior high school, but anything you've got with this?
Can we get a name for this other person?
Name?
I'm sorry?
His name. What's his name? What's his name?
Hello,
Okay.
his name. What's his name?
Oh, his name, Gary.
Gary. Okay, all right, got it. Rada, what do you have?
All right. Okay, so as I'm sitting here kind of asking, what should she do with Gary? Immediately hair, like, go slow. You kind of have an appropriate action that you're already contemplating to take place. So that may be the asking him about the presentation, and then, go to coffee. I think you can do all of it. Don't just think about one. But just call him and check him out, just basically on the basis of, hey, do you think you'd be willing to give me a hand doing something? And that really will start the show. So Give him a call. Most definitely give him a call and feel him out.
Yeah, because it's interesting. I was going to ask him for coffee lately. He just seems like he overthinks things. And so I could just tell, I'm like, it's really not a big deal. It's as long as I don't want to get into the private part of this. It's just 6 months ago, something happened. It was a professional thing, and then I had to cut it off. I'm like, this isn't working. And we both agreed. And then I'm still trying to look for another professional person who does his job. And so all this time I did have another person. I'm just trying to look for somebody new. So I called him. I'm like, do you know anybody? He goes, are you asking for me to do the job? I said, no, because I don't think that's appropriate at all. Because it just felt very I feel like he's an old soul, and it just feels more like a friendship I could feel interest in him and within me. He just won't say anything. He's just shy and timid. So I'm all freaked out because I've been hurt too. And so that's why I'm making this a weird thing. I know I am, but I'm just asking you.
That's all right. That's all right. So I kind of feel like I said, go slow. There is opportunity there. But let's see what Ernesto says, because I bet you he can find something in those stars that will give you a little better accuracy on what's coming down. So Ernesto, can you grab it?
Yeah, so first question that I have is, actually, it's not really as a question as much of it is a statement that this conversation that you're talking about, presentation, I asked the question in your chart. If you're watching our YouTube stream, for everybody who's out there right now, I'm asking the chart the question in your chart, presenting an idea, because that's essentially what this is about. Let's ignore the love aspect of things for a bit, just for the sake of the question. You really want to know, should I ask this guy to help me with this presentation? Because that's really what you're calling about. It's not about him. Yeah. It's about, should I go with him or should I ask somebody else? So that's the question that we're asking your chart right now. And we look at it. I want to say it's going to be tomorrow, if not the following day. You're going to have a triple pattern here where all of this is going to line up with your midpoints. You're going to have a triple midpoint that'll show up here for something like a conversation, and you can see that it's confirmed by the fact that you've got this Mercury by transit that's going to be making an axis here with this Poseidon down here right opposite, and that's in alignment with your natal and solar arc directed midpoint. So tomorrow I would expect that you're probably going to give him a call. And to be clear, this person that you're speaking of with when it comes to a presenting an idea. That's the question, right? We're looking. This person is like it. He feels like a marriage partner. Would you say that that's true?
Yes, I really feel this. It's something you can't describe. It's just, I've never. It's very strange. I feel like I've known him for eons.
Yeah,
It's very yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, based on what I can see in the chart, you know, you've got like the Pluto shows up on by transit here on this axis point. So, I mean, without even really doing any other type of work here, we can see that, you know, that you are being changed by this. So, I would tend to think if you gave this guy a call, you know, to say, hey, could you help me out with this presentation that I have this big thing coming up, and I really would like your help. You know, not to make anything awkward out of it. You know, just to be friendly, to give him an idea, and don't even bring up all of that other, you know, like non-HR friendly type of talk. You know, like you don't even need to have that.
Yeah,
Just so,
no.
just so much as being
Yeah.
around him, I think is sort of what your soul wants. Is, you know, just like I just feel really comfortable that this person is around me. I don't really care if they don't give me a hug or if they don't address me or smile, whatever. I'm just happy that they're here. That's all that matters. So,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
yeah, and you know, and this person is your, you know, like you have Uranus that shows up twice on this axis point also. So, you know, Uranus is a destiny planet in astrology, so that means that, you know, there's really a destiny here, with relation to this question that we're asking, and you know, the moon also shows up by transit, so that means this is the hour that you would ask that. So we can confirm all of these details here in your chart. But I really feel like that, you know, you're going to probably give this person a call, and it's going to work out. I think if anything else, it'll lead to like a professional style friendship, if that makes sense. You know, it's not really like it ever gets personal or fuzzy or anything like that. It may down the line, it definitely has that potential for that spark. But I just feel like that, yeah, this is definitely somebody that can help you out. So make that call. Absolutely. Just don't be weird about it.
Okay.
And don't, you know, try to, second guess yourself or think too hard about things. Remember, read everything for face value.
Okay.
It is what it is.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like it's not about overthinking it. Just doing it is key. And I feel like, you know, because I can't read my own work anymore. I've published work, and it's going to ask him to read a piece of mine, because I'm going to be squinting, and even reading my own, I'm going to be. It's even with me practicing it, it would still be really a lot more difficult for me to just read my work. So that's what I was going to ask him to do.
Yeah, just
So,
tell
it
him
feels
what
right.
just
It
tell him
does.
what you need, and I think the connection is there. You know, there's absolutely something profound with this person, and it's just, you know, just don't read into it. It's just somebody that you work with and somebody that you really love. And remember that soulmates comes in all shape and forms. That they're not necessarily love soulmates. Like you can have work soulmates that you love just as much, and they tickle you in that way. It's just not physical.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too. I do admit though, like there's just something there. I don't think I'm reading things either. But I mean, I'm willing to just take it step by step. You know, like not do what I used to do.
And I do agree that there is the potential for that spark there, but not right now. That time isn't there. You know, like there's some more
Exactly.
development that we need to have before you can have those conversations.
Yeah, there needs to be substance. You know, I want it to be graceful and just organically happening versus just like, yeah, it makes complete sense. Okay.
Well, I mean, Amala, we know when it
overview.
comes to relationships, you don't accept any crap, so you're really just kind of holding out for that right one. So, and you'll know when that time is.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, thank you so very much. It was so helpful, and have a beautiful, blessed Saturday.
I wish you the same, and we'll catch up with you soon.
You
Until
too.
next time, take care.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, and we are going to get off to our next caller here from area code 216, Patricia. Hi, you're on the line with us on the Uranus Happens Show. Can you hear us?
Yes, hi. Thank you for taking my call. How are you all today?
We're doing great. Now, Patricia, do you have a question, or would you just like a general reading today?
I like a question. I've been preparing to relocate, and I know and since I'm being pulled to live in the Southwest. So I've chosen New Mexico. I've been doing the research, and I was planning to do this probably the fall of this year, November. Is that a good time for me? And it's Las Cruces, New Mexico, that I decided on.
Ooh, that feels good. That feels really good, Patricia.
You know, what I'm planning to do is, now I'm in another state, in another city, and I'm obviously been looking at apartments and, you know, doing the research and looking at streets and all that. And I've gotten a brief reading, psychic reading from elsewhere, and they were saying for me to just go on there and rent a room out of a home, and then I can, you know, look from there. You know, I can go, look from there.
Okay.
So
I
I've
got
been.
You, Patricia. Hang tight for a minute. Let me grab some energy here. Okay, so as I'm trying to like confirm what you've been told, getting a validation, yes or no, you know, here, there. I'm feeling like whatever you've got in your head, it's a good course of action. I feel like it may take a little bit of time. Be very selective about the first place you stay there. Don't rush right into, well, this will have to do because I don't have any other choice. Don't do that. Get the right one.
Okay.
Get the right fit. And you can Airbnb it somewhere, and, you know, you can be comfortable and safe while you're making your decision. It's going to take a little time, though. I don't get that it's going to be a quick transition. So be prepared to sit for a little bit where you're at, Las Cruces.
Okay.
Okay, so we're at the end of August, September.
So I should, right. So
Yeah,
I should stay here in Cleveland before I, you know, go to Las Cruces. Stay here in Cleveland, Ohio, to what, the first of the year?
You know what? No, you can start looking now. Start looking now. You want to make sure that you're in the right situation, and give yourself plenty of time. If you get something and someone snaps, you know, their fingers and says, yes, this is, you know, and it ends up being absolutely wonderful, start packing. Pack right then and get ready to go. I don't feel like you have to wait. I don't feel like to linger is a good idea. However, it's going to be slow. Like I said, the transition's going to be slow, so start looking now. But let's hear what Ernesto has to say, because he may have a better, you know, a definitive on the time frame, Patricia. But it feels good. Las Cruces felt good. The minute you said it and I pinged you there, it felt good. So let's hear what Ernesto has to say.
Sure. So I'm taking a look here at, you know, the concept of moving in your chart to see what that has to say about it. And when we ask that question, you know, like it doesn't really line up the way that I would like to say for something like a move. Yeah, as far as that triple midpoint configuration is concerned. So to Veretta's point, what that would mean then is that, you know, this is the time that, you know, you would want to just start looking. I don't think you're necessarily going to land any place like concrete, like you're really going to set a foundation. I think there's going to be like a little bit of transience that'll go on in the beginning. Like you're going to rent a room, maybe, you know, like an extended stay motel type of situation. There's going to be some temporary housing situation while you're just kind of getting a feel for the location. I don't think the actual like home that you're really kind of thinking about, or that we normally would when it comes to moving, that scenario isn't going to be hitting until about next year sometime. But this time that we're in right now is going to be where you're at least going to get a feel of, you know, this is where I would like to live, or these are the good and bad parts of town, or I really like this neighborhood because I can walk every place. You know, like you're just gonna find the places that are right for you. And, you know, I do think that there's going to be some moving around from different, you know, residences for right now. But the real big, you know, like I'm going to plant my feet here and I can say that I live in Las Cruces officially, you know, that I've that I'm like a native almost, that feeling won't hit until about next year. So, but right now is still the time when you need to go out and, be getting some more information about that. But again, don't do it during the retrograde because starting something new like a move during a Mercury retrograde could be catastrophic. So you would just want to do your research to find out the correct places or, those kinds of things. That don't make any major purchases, don't sign any contracts, don't make any agreements with people. Those can all go really south fast quickly because we don't understand all of the terms and conditions, or we don't notice every single I that's dotted and T that's crossed. Those things can happen.
Right. And I'm in these senior apartments that I'm applying to, but I probably have to get on the waiting list. So I'm just wondering if I should get on the list from here, just fill out the online application. And then once I get there, I can look.
Yes. Get your name in the application process, because if there is a list that gets that ticks that clock away a little easier than you being there waiting.
Right.
Yeah. So start your initiation. Like Ernesta said, get all your research done right now. And then if there are applications, do them right now. Don't wait.
And Patricia, I don't really know if this applies to your situation, but if there are any types of government, programs or assistance or anything like that. I'm sorry, if there's any types of government assistance or programs, you would really benefit from that also. I'm not sure what that area is going to be like, or, what they require to get set up. But if you can see here on our YouTube stream, you've got Kronos that's showing up twice on your chart. On this access point about the move. So the fact that it's showing there, that's kind of telling me like that's definitely an ally in all of this for you, is that look into like Section 8, reduced cost, utility programs, things like that can just help you to curb the expense a little bit. I think that if you do the work and put in the research that those programs do exist and that you would actually qualify for them but it's going to be a little bit of a job to be able to find them because of that Mars-Neptune out there by transit, meaning that I have to do work, but not everything may stick because of that Neptune energy. So my advice to you, one more thing to consider in your whole process about moving to New Mexico is look for other ways that you can help to cut expenses, especially stuff that might be government subsidized, because you would qualify for such programs.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Now I'm just working on getting some aware job. Using my computer and using my phone, I need to just to show that I do have some income because I'm not retired. I'm working on, learning skill sets so that I can earn more money. Okay. I got into a program on an online platform, and I'm in the process of creating a mini course. And I'm still trying to figure it out, but I went on and did it because it was on the back of my mind, and it seemed like it was I started this about 3 weeks ago. And it's, and I'm wondering, this mini course, and it's basically to help people find groups of personal development, along the lines of personal development, energy healing, but to their mindset. And I'm thinking of myself as a mindset coach. I'm not that, but working in that area to help people in their personal and business along those lines. Am I on that right course? I mean, that's the course. Well, I can still change, but that's what I'm thinking now.
That feels good. I do think you'll change. Right. I don't think where you're at right now in the energy is not complete. So I think there are things that you'll add on or take away or amend to some degree. But that actually, it's a good course of action for you.
Right, and I'm starting to do the research, look on these Reddit, or trying to find where these forums are so I can read and see if I see repeating questions or concerns or complaints, then I'll give me some idea, okay, or this group of people, this is what they need, or they're in pain about this, or, or they want to transform, that. So anyway,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you very much, and I'm continuing just doing the work.
No, we
Good
wish
for
you all
you.
the best of luck, Patricia. Be sure to give us a call back and let us know how it turns out.
All right, thank you. Have a good evening.
We'll catch up with you soon. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Good night. Okay, and we are going to get off to our next caller here. Kay from area code 919. Kay, are you on the line with us? Can you hear us?
I can, thank you.
Okay, great. And Kay, did you have a question today, or do you just want a general reading?
I think I'll stick with that.
Okay.
Although my spirit is telling me to go with a general, but I want to ask a question
All right, what's that? What's your question today?
specifically about job opportunities. So
Okay.
All right, do that. So you have a
I have
job
been applying. I have been applying, and I am just trying to remain positive and calm in my quest. And I'm just wondering, do you see something coming along soon? Will September be better for me in my search?
I don't even have to move the dial.
For job.
And I can see, you have 2 Jupiters that stack up. So, I mean, from my perspective right away, I'll let Beretta speak here. I'm so sorry I interrupted you like that. But yeah, I mean, just to answer your
That's
question,
okay.
yeah, 2 Jupiters, that's going to speak that, good fortune, good blessing, we like those things. So you'll definitely be under that influence for the month of September. So you got some good things coming up here. Now, Beretta, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's all right. That's fine because there are some changes though that need to be made. I feel like something that you're doing isn't quite complete in the area of looking, and I don't know if that's how you're presenting yourself, what you're looking for, where, I'm not sure, but it isn't, let's say it isn't what it's supposed to be at this point. So tweak your system, and the minute you do, that's probably where that instant reaction, like Ernesto's picking up, comes in. And things happen.
I wonder what that is.
I don't know. Well, that may be something Ernesto can look at too. If there is something that you haven't been comfortable with and you've been thinking, the first thing that came to me was, you already know it's something that you've been considering changing or doing something about, you just didn't. So think about maybe what it is that you thought you could have done different or maybe would like to do different, and that's probably it right there.
And, the only thing I could think of, and it's interesting you say that, I have been working since May on this job, and I love the job. It's just, it has absolutely nothing to do with what it was one of those jobs where, you're desperate for money or you need money, so you take a job, and it's just income coming in. So I can add that so it doesn't look like I haven't been working, but there is nothing about that job that I would want to be my next job, because the only thing, should I say, is working with the law firm that I do now, but I'm working in accounts receivables, and that is so not my area. I enjoy what I'm doing, but I don't like that. This is not something I could ever see a career. No way.
Yeah.
No way. Yeah. So
what about that?
The only thing I
about
can think of that is adding that to my resume, and I haven't had that on my resume.
Then add it to your resume. I would say add it to your resume, most definitely. Because even though it isn't something you'd want to do in the future, it shows the experience. So, right away it ups the game of what they think that you're capable of doing.
Yeah, okay, well, that makes sense. It does show that I am working and not basically unemployed. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. And Urso, can you give her some more?
Yeah, so Kay, I think that this month that, you're probably going to find more of your success towards the end of the month. That the end of September, that's gonna bring more positive energy as far as like the job is concerned. And I think that the job that you're looking for, it's gonna be unlike anything you've ever done before. I don't think it's in this particular field even. And it's going to be something you're actually really going to like, but it's just unrelated to different types of work that you've done in the past. So that whole issue about your resume and your history and your job experience, this is going to be like you're doing accounts receivable right now. Let's say you ended up working in human resources or payroll or marketing, like something that, you could probably get, weasel your way through if you really seriously tried, but it's a little bit of a stretch. And there is definitely a learning curve at the beginning, but I think it's going to create the change that you're looking for because you've got some nice Pluto that's showing up on this question here. So that's going to, bring in that change for you that you're really wanting. And that'll be under the influence, I think, towards the end of the month is when you're going to start to feel that a little bit more. And I know we are coming into a Mercury retrograde, so you obviously don't want to start any jobs during that time. Like, don't accept a new position between now and, the 10th. And let me tell you the exact date of when that goes direct. So that'll be through September 10th. There we go. And it goes direct on October 2nd. So between September 10th, October 2nd, don't take any new jobs. But I think that, you're going to, if you're at least going to start to apply for jobs, that's definitely something you can do during a retrograde is applying for work. You may even start to get some callbacks, people saying, hey, we'd like for you to come in for an interview, but don't schedule anything until after that October 2nd, because anything you do beforehand, that's going to fall apart on you.
You're fading out again.
Okay, I think I heard you. You faded out. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Out,
yeah.
I think I understood.
Yeah. So after October 2nd, then you want to apply. Then you want to schedule your interviews. Anything during the Mercury retrograde is just going to fall apart, though.
Okay. So will I be able to manage financially? Because right now I am so barren, and so that's why I was hoping for September, but so that means an entire another month of the struggle I'm in. So, but I will be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, though, when Veretta says you're going to be fine, yes, you will be fine. But I just want you to be aware that the struggle may turn very real. And, you're really going to have some serious conversations with yourself about what corners am I able to cut, that don't affect my quality of life. I do think that, there will be a saving grace when all is said and done, and that, that we can prevent, a real tragedy from happening. But this time is going to be where, you're just going to kind of get to where you may feel a little bit down on yourself just with the overall condition and the way that things are going, and you're just feeling beat down. And I'm going to let you know now that this too shall pass. So keep your chin up through all of this because it really does get better.
Thank you, because I'm already there. I am. That's why I said part of me wanted to ask for the general, because my spirit is, and I'm trying my best to keep it positive, but I am so broken right now. I don't even know. Sometimes it's just very difficult. So, but thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Hang in there.
Yeah, we wish you all the best, Kay, and be sure to give us a call back and let us know how it turns out.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll catch up with you soon. Take care and good night. Okay, and Veretta, are you still there with me?
I am.
Perfect. All right, so it looks like that is everybody for today. It looks like it was a little bit of a shorter show for us tonight. I am so glad that we came out on a Saturday. We will be back with you guys tomorrow on our usual time slot in the mornings. That'll be at 9:30. We'll be there for 2 hours. And if you have any other questions, be sure to get in touch with us on our show tomorrow. For all other things Uranian Astrology, you can go to eastrologer.net and Veretta Vision at verettavision.com. You can check her out over there. So we'll be back with you guys tomorrow.
Awesome.
Thanks so much for calling in tonight, and it was a great show as always. So we will catch up with you guys real soon here. Have a great night, you guys. Take care and good night.
Good night.